That's it, guys. I'm done. I'm hanging it up. I'm retiring. No more maxing out. No more squatting. No more deadlifts. No more primal displays of masculinity using a barbell to assert my dominance as a man. No more competition. That's it. I'm done. I'm getting small. What's up, guys? It's Bromley, and I want to talk about the next year of my life, which is going to involve getting very, very, very small. I am going to let myself go, and I'm going to give you the 7 reasons why. Now, to be clear, I'm not planning on just disintegrating into a soggy, moldy potato on the couch. I am going to work and train and pay attention to my diet and all of that, but I am moving very, very, very far away from the strength-specific, competition-specific threshold that I have been in for quite a while. And I want to cover this too to ease some of your concerns. Early on, you probably are of the opinion that when you get stronger, that you just kind of maintain that strength. That's just where you are. Like, first time I pulled like a 365 deadlift, I'm like, well, that's just how strong I am now. As you get more specialized, you realize that, oh, that's not the case. A certain amount of time outside of the gym, or a certain amount of time detraining, or an injury, or anything that sidelines you can absolutely set you back on that journey, and you have to make up that ground. I want to reinforce that comebacks happen obscenely fast. None of you should ever worry about having to take a short period of time to take a break, to let yourself heal, to get your psychology right, to deal with life stress, because sometimes, in fact, oftentimes, those things are much more important. The barbell is always going to be there, and you can always make your comeback, and they happen very, very quickly. I learned that when I broke my foot off my ankle. I had to have a plate put in my leg, which made things like yoke walks really fun. And in that time, I was supposed to do no load bearing for 3 months. I want to say I started squatting after like 5 weeks with an empty bar. So, I don't recommend that. Thankfully, my foot is still attached to my body. But when I was good to start training regularly again, it took about 3 months to get my strength to new heights from where I was. In fact, I believe 6 months to the day of my surgery, I hit an all-time squat PR at a powerlifting meet. So comebacks happen very quick. It's something I stopped stressing over. That's one of the reasons I want to tell you why I'm doing this and why I'm comfortable doing this and what my plans are going to be for after it's over and I'm ready to start dialing things up again. So without further ado, these are the 7 reasons I am very comfortable in letting myself go. Reason number 1, psychology. Burnout is a thing. You always want to keep yourself motivated and gassed up and excited. A lot of that just comes from habits. When it's something you do regularly, you don't have to get excited. You don't have to get motivated. But things that require more focus, more effort, more attention, take a little more energy. There's a little more of a recovery cost to it. And you want to make sure that your psychology stays sharp. And once those things start to pile up or you've been doing them for so long, you'll notice that your aggression starts lacking, your excitement starts lacking. There's only so much that habit can get you when you're really trying to compete at the top. You do have to go through long periods where your internal motivation is very, very high. Now, part of getting my psychology right is staying active, which I'm definitely going to do. So there's always something I'm going to be doing to kind of keep myself moving forward. Once I stop, that's when my mindset is really going to take a turn for the worse. So I still will be in the gym. I'll be focusing on different things. It's a break from the really focused competitive stuff that I'm looking forward to because I've been running high on that for so long. And I noticed that I wasn't getting excited anymore going into each additional prep. It seemed like a chore. And that's something that I never wanted this to be. I don't want this to be something that is an obligation. I do this for fun. I do it because I like it and it makes the rest of my life better. Once it stops doing that, I'm out. This is not what is paying my kids' way into college. This is not what's sealing my legacy. At my funeral, nobody's going to care whether or not I got a pro card in strongman or not. This is entirely a supplement to the rest of my life. So I am looking forward to clearing my mind out, letting myself rediscover what training for enjoyment is, going back to when I was 17, 18, and I would just spend a couple hours at the gym doing what I wanted, and I was still able to grow, and it was fun, and it was enjoyable, and I got a lot out of it, even though there wasn't a lot of direction. I want to rediscover some things I haven't done instead of being in this narrow little specialized box I've been in for a very long time. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Reason number 2. I got to heal up. I don't know how much controversy there is around this. I know there's a little bit, and I felt it during that Brian Carroll interview when the stuff about McGill and the barbell medicine guys piped up. I don't know where this idea came from that people are durable and they can handle anything, and you just got to keep working because your body adapts. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. Go into any training hall with long-term competitive lifters, weightlifters, powerlifters, strongmen. I don't care. Ask anybody who's reasonably competitive and who has been doing it for very long, Raise your hand if you have not had an injury in the last 6 months. Nobody is going to raise their hand. There's going to be a long list of complaints that the average competitor has regarding inflammation, impingement, various ghost pains. You get tendinopathy, you get bursitis, you get muscle tears, you get tendon tears. There's all kinds of shit you can't even put your finger on. And everybody knows what it's like to start getting to that point where you're a little more competitive and it's a little harder to get out of bed in the morning. You feel a little bit older. Now, that doesn't mean that you're breaking your body down over time. I mean, generally, as you get older, the stronger you are, the better, even if you do have those issues. But that doesn't mean you just resign yourself to living in pain and inflammation for the rest of your life. Now, there very much was a point where it felt like, well, as long as I want to compete, I'm just going to have to suck it up. And this is the minimum amount of pain I'm going to have to deal with on a regular basis. And as long as I don't go up here, I can be right here. As long as I don't go up here, I can squeeze out my contest prep, still put up a good performance. Eventually it gets to a point where you just get tired of it and it starts to impede on the rest of your life. And you're kind of like, why am I still doing this? Any good training program, any good cycle or periodization scheme is going to dedicate times of recovery so that those tissues can heal and catch up, and so that you can minimize the effect of these overuse issues that happen to everybody. Anybody who suggests they're not a thing or they're not worth paying attention to is being extraordinarily disingenuous. I'm not talking about your average first 1 or 2 year lifter. I'm talking about people that have been chasing the podium for a certain period of time. Yes, it happens in every sport. You accrue wear, you accrue issues, you need time to let that heal. And I'm really excited to do that. And I'm going to focus on some things that might help with that. Part of my issues, I know I get really bound when I start getting into contest prep. My delts get really tight, makes it real hard to rack the front barbell. So now the barbell's floating up by my chins, bouncing on my bicep tendon. Doesn't feel good at the elbow, doesn't feel good at the shoulder. Similarly with my glutes, my hips, it's hard to sink into a full squat. You start forcing yourself into positions for strongman that is very hard for your body to accommodate. It's not a recipe for a good end result. So I'm excited. I'm going to do more flexibility stuff, more endurance stuff, more gentle modes of training, dumbbells, cables, bands, body weight stuff. And I'm actually kind of excited to get back to that. If I can come back next year with some of these issues resolved, I know that it's going to be that much more of a meteoric rise. My training will be better. My psychology will be better. I will be able to do things I can't right now because I'm hindered. Reason number 3, I'm about to embark on a Natty Experiment. And I'm sad to admit it. I'm going to have to leave the dark side for a short period of time. I'm going to have to rediscover the light, bask in the holy virtue of not having the temple that is my body tainted by any external substances. I am going to treat my body as a sacred ground to channel enlightenment and reflect back the positive vibes of the mother universe. But no, really, me and my wife want to have a kid. I have a narrow window to have a family. Part of the recipe for that is letting my machinery come back to its normal state of function. So I'm going to have to commit to the better part of a year for really not being on any PEDs, any substances like that. Now, that's something I don't talk about a lot on this channel. It's very important for me to be upfront. It's not something I'm trying to hide. I just never wanted that to be the focus of this channel, because then the comments get weird and people come in with their dumbass opinions. This channel will always be about how you, no matter what you do, can optimize your potential using the tools that you have at your disposal. I'm giving out stuff that's applicable to everybody. The whole natty or not discussion is the most useless trash content. It's probably my biggest pet peeve as far as what gets put out there in the YouTube sphere. But hey, I mean, you can watch the Discovery Channel or you can watch the Kardashians. I guess there's always a time and place for trash TV, right? So I am going through this, and I know, and this is something some of you might not know, when you do cycle away, your hormones are in flux. So you see this pretty catastrophic drop. Now, guys will obsess over keeping every ounce of gains that they can. Oh, I can't let my precious gains go. They want to hoard them like Scrooge McDuck hoards gold coins. And the thought of losing a single ounce of gains is just traumatic and devastating. Like I said before, comebacks happen absurdly quick, so I don't worry about it. And even if you're doing this rigorous PCT, you're still going to take a hit, and it's hard on your psychology when you're focused on not letting your numbers dip, and it leads you to make some pretty irrational decisions in the gym. Many people will see that dip, and it kind of reinforces the idea that it's a crutch and it does everything for you. You have to keep in mind that when you're in flux, you'll drop temporarily below your normal levels. I've actually seen my numbers drop, my lifts drop below where they were when I was a teenager, temporarily. And that's because temporarily my hormones are in the shitter. And until things get back to normal, until they jump back up, that's just something you have to deal with. It's a reality. So I don't want to have to deal with kind of the normal changes that happen with your mood and your recovery abilities and your nervous system and your aggression. I don't want to have to deal with that while I'm trying to still lift heavy or still lift for size or still prioritize all of these competitive goals. It will be much better for me psychologically, and I think it will get a much better outcome if I stop fixating on the numbers and I just lift for enjoyment. And I'm not going to care that my strength dips because I'm not even lifting heavy. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of different modes of training for no other reason than I want to. And that's kind of an exciting thing at this point to look forward to. Reason number 4, I'm saying goodbye to my gains. I want to get lean and conditioned. I've known this for a while, that even as far as competition goes, I'm about 5% fatter than I need to be. My body fat's probably 24, 25. It should be in the high teens. That weight is extra muscle I can't put on without moving up into a higher weight class. It's excess weight that I have to cut. So if I really want to be competitive, I got to get my weight down. Again, leaning out while you're trying to also get stronger, it gets trickier. I'm not a guy that can walk a tightrope with my diet for longer than a couple of months. I can do it for a serious contest prep. I'm never going to do it just as my default way of living. I like to eat and I like convenience, and that's just who I am. And what I eat when I eat, it's based on the result that I get, and I'm generally pretty okay with the way things are going right now. By taking this time to not focus on gaining, bulking, getting stronger, I don't have to walk this tightrope. I can now focus on leaning out, getting a lot of excess fat off, so that when I am ready to come back, it will be that much easier to gain mass again, to make that comeback in the context of a leaner body weight. So I'm excited to do that. Conditioning is going to be part of that. All the work I've done so far into strongman, I mean, conditioning is like a minute-long medley. It's some intervals with log cleans or sled pushes or whatever. And it does have a conditioning component, but I do miss longer road work. I miss going on runs that might last 20 or 30 minutes. I miss cycling. And I used to throw in things like CrossFit Metcons. I do generally like that stuff. I stayed away from it for a while because I've been so focused on competing specifically for strongman. So it will be fun to get my diet oriented towards leaning out and being able to do more conditioning type stuff, feel that capacity tick up. I look forward to being lighter on my feet for a little while, maybe give my knees and ankles a break. So it'll be nice to lean out, have my waist shrink a little bit, be able to tie my shoes. I don't know if you guys know this, a lot of my decisions about life have to do with how easy it is for me to tie my shoes, which tells you a lot about the sacrifice that you're making for a particular sport. Real quick, guys, I want to tell you about some opportunities we have for you. If you need instruction, if you want to be part of a community, get some of your questions answered, help give you a flashlight in the dark tunnel that is strength, conditioning, and performance. Firstly, we got our Facebook page, Base Strength. It's absolutely free. It's a growing community. A lot of helpful people there. Go ahead and check that out. For those that want a little bit more insight, consider looking at our Patreon page. We have $5 and $10 tiers. People DM me all the time. They get 100% priority when it comes to getting questions answered. Also, Patreon members, they get all of my publications first, fast, and free. That is a perk that every member of my Patreon gets. If you haven't already, check out Base Strength and Peak Strength. They're on my store. They're on Amazon. That summarizes better than any single video my training philosophies, my recommendations, how we break all this stuff down. And don't forget, Superior Deadlift is going to be coming out this week. Check that out as well. That is one of the most thorough breakdowns of technique, of leverages, of programming, of troubleshooting the deadlift that you will probably find anywhere. So that's going to be hitting soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you, everybody, for your support. It is literally the only reason I can do what I can do. So thank you for that. Now that brings me into my next point, nutrition. I am honestly tired of eating to grow. I've been doing that for a long time. I would say my last contest run was one of my best when it came to getting my diet situated to eat so that I could grow into this body that I needed to compete at that level. But it still requires a ton of overeating. It requires planning meals. It's inconvenient. Carbs hit me like a sledgehammer. It's probably different for everybody, but I get a big crash whenever I eat carbs. So if I'm sitting in front of the computer, if I'm trying to film, if I'm trying to write, if I had a meal an hour ago, I'm falling asleep, man. My eyes are dropping. My head's starting to do this bobbing thing as I scare myself, wake myself up. It's very inconvenient. It interferes with the rest of my life. I don't like force feeding. And that is very much part of the prep. One of the things I'm doing to try and lean out, I'm trying the carnivore diet. Now I'm documenting it. I'm going to have a video out in a month. I plan on doing 30 days and then getting back to you guys. I'm not doing it because I think it's something I'm going to recommend to people. I'm not going to be like an advocate for this kind of trendy diet. I'm very much doing it because in this time of stress in my life, it's very easy to do. I like meat and it's low carb. And I've always said that if I didn't train, I'd probably perpetually be on a low carb diet for that reason. Like I'm 2 days in and every time I have a massive meal, I don't get tired. And that's very, very new. I had the other day, I had like a half pound of steak and like 8 eggs. And for the next 4 hours, I had nothing but energy. And that's new for me. So taking this opportunity to try something new with my diet, get lean again, so that as I plan to do something that looks like a comeback, I can make adjustments as needed in the context of this new eating style. And I might even try other things. I might even experiment a little bit because I'm not so fixated on getting bigger and getting stronger. Reason number 6, I'm turning into a small weakling. I swear, if I get under 200 pounds, I'm just going to grow my hair out and go work at a co-op in Portland. I get to focus on and experiment with other things. Now, I touched on that a little bit with the nutrition, that's true. But with my training, with general activity, I don't have to organize everything I'm doing around a direct competitive result, which is huge. That is such a breath of fresh air. I'm so eager to get into that flow where I can freely kind of experiment like I used to. It's been a long time since I've tried new things for the sake of it. It's been a long time since I've trained instinctively. It's been a long time since I could say, yeah, I can just go on a hike or go sign up for a half marathon or something just because the urge struck me, because I've always had these competitive dates set in stone, these weight goals set in stone. So being able to experiment is a big thing, being able to be active in the rest of my life, I'm looking forward to. So the focus is, for me, it's going to be general activity. Me and my wife are trying to figure out other classes we can take, other general activities we can take up. We're trying to figure out if there's trails by our new house where we can run. Hell, maybe I'll sign up for a boot camp class. I thought about finding something else to train for. Maybe dipping my foot in jiu-jitsu. That seems to be what all the old lifters get into once they become too broken to keep lifting. But I want to be able to experiment with other things and to focus my attention on those and not feel like I'm doing a disservice to my next squat or deadlift session. And reason number 7, why I'm so comfortable turning my back on the mother of gains, that is just stress and lifestyle stuff. Remember, all of this is a hobby. Even if you take it seriously, it's a hobby. There are like 10 guys in the world who pay their rent off of how much weight that they lift. Everybody else, this is something you dump money into. It is separate from your main mission in life, whether it's your family, your work, the other things that give you purpose that will write your legacy. This is not, and probably should not be, the center of everything that you do. It is okay when stress boils over for you to hit the brakes on the competitive, take no prisoners mentality. It's not only fine, I think it's warranted. I think it's a smart thing to do from time to time. That doesn't mean that you just give up completely. Staying active is important. I think keeping one toe in the water is important. But it's okay to take a breath and say, I got a lot on my plate right now. I don't feel like killing myself for this plastic trophy. That maybe I do need to work a little bit more. Maybe I do need to spend a little more time with my family. Maybe I have a big life event coming up and that requires all of my focus if I want to make it through this in one piece. That's absolutely okay. That's what we're going through right now. We have a lot on our plate. We got family stuff. We got the move. We got trying to figure out job placement for my wife, me transitioning all of this to another state. We don't know anybody. We don't have a network. And all of that is in the context of trying to have kids, which by itself is a very scary endeavor. That's probably going to take a lot of focus and attention. It's a lot of time planning that has to go along with everything else. So I'm perfectly okay with saying, let's get the foundation of our life set up, and I will revisit this when all of that is taken care of and it's more of an afterthought. So this is my life plan. These are the 7 reasons I'm comfortable getting small, and I will bring you along every step of the journey. I promise not to flood my channel with shirtless pics or with dick root shots. I promise not to flood you guys with my mood swings as I get really bad sugar cravings and start to rethink this whole mess. This is really just my sustainable flow. It's like everything I talk about in programming in general. There's an ebb and flow. I'm going to reestablish my foundation, and in the future when it's appropriate, it'll roll forward. And all of it's going to come together in a nice big picture that takes me to exactly where I want to go. So let me know what you think. Leave your questions and comments or concerns for the sweet, precious gains I am about to lose. Till next time, this is Bromley. I'll see you.